This young fellow increased in goods. But we find out his finally payoff day come. His goods so increased till he found that he had to build new barns. Oh, his business kept increasing. He stayed a member of the church. You say, yes, brother, that's right. He stayed a member of the church. And one night he got so big till there was a man that was poor in spirit. You know, we don't have to be so poor in money. We've got to get poor in spirit. Jesus said in Matthew 5, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is not the organization, the kingdom. And the poor in spirit laid at his gate, and he'd give him a few crumbs. In other words, when they passed by, he might have given something in a collection box or something. Or he might have said, you know, they're nice people. I have nothing against them. I will go to their breakfasts once in a while. You'll furnish a few crumbs. That might be so. Oh, my wife belongs down there, but I admire my position with my business colleagues. And he swept the crumbs off, and Lazarus, the poor in spirit, lay there with not even enough medicine to take care of himself, and the dogs licked his sore. But one night, they both died. And when they did, the Bible said that the poor in spirit was carried by angel pallbearers to the bosoms of Abraham. The one had made his investment in eternal life. He didn't live for what he had here. For his popularity, he had none. He was a beggar at the gate. He had nothing. He had no money. He had nothing. He had no friends. But yet he was a believer. He had made his investment. And he died on the street with the dogs licking his sores. And the Bible said that angels packed him into the bosoms of Abraham. And the same night, the rich old ruler now, he'd had a great prosperous life, and he died. Now he paid off in dividends too. Some intellectual preacher come along, perhaps with his collar turned around, and maybe in all of his priestly garb, and said, and they half-mast the flag, and the flowers couldn't be held in this ballroom here. And oh, what a great to-do, and they had, and all the business, maybe the president of the bank association, all of them come and was pallbearers for him. And maybe the intellectual minister stood up and said, our precious brother, how many times has he wrote checks for the widows, and how many times has he paid in our great organization and sponsored our program? And maybe the businessman might have made a talk. He got his reward. That's right. His investment paid off like that. But from the world, he was a great man. But because that he rejected the investment that Jesus gave him, the Bible said in hell, he lifted up his eyes and he saw the man who had made the investment otherwise, safely in the bosoms of Abraham, comforted, walking around fine. And he cried. Now watch, you say, was he yeah. Father Abraham, a Jew, right? I pray thee, send Lazarus, the poor in spirit, that made the investment. I turned it down, but send Lazarus with just a little water. These flames are tormenting me. He said, son, you had the opportunity. He did. Jesus presented. Sell what you got and come follow me. Make your investment in this. Take up your cross. But it was too great. He said, now he is comforted and thou art tormented. And besides all this, there's a great gulf fixed between you and he that no man has ever crossed or ever will. That's knocks purgatory and all these doctrines to pieces. That was Jesus Christ that said that. Don't wait too long, mister. My precious wayward brother, fallen from Christ. Don't wait too long to make this investment. He might have intended someday to do it. But as the old southern saying is, hell itself is paved with good intentions. The intentions doesn't do it. Read the prescription on the bottle, but then take the medicine if you want the results. Make your investment. Sign your name and his blood over your heart. Notice, look at him. In hell, he lifted up his eyes. He had been paid off. And then notice, he said, then, Father Abraham, if you cannot do this, Don't let my colleagues, where all my inheritance went back in the earth, my investment that I made, tell them don't make the same mistake that I made. Could that be you this morning? My Jewish friend or Gentile friend? Don't be rational like that fellow was. He said, send him back and let this message be brought to them. Oh, he wanted to become a minister then. He wanted to accept it's too late. Can't do it now. His time, he had the opportunity, but he didn't make his investment. And he said, they have the prophets, they have what the Word said and the laws. He said, yes, but if one raised from the dead, and it could be proven that he's raised from the dead, then they'll believe it. He said they wouldn't believe though one be raised from the dead. And 2,000 years has passed since that scene. And 1963, one is among us this morning, proving that Christ has raised from the dead, and the life that was in Him is in His church doing the same things to fulfill His Word. Won't you, my brother, sister, make this investment this morning? Surrender your lives to Christ as we bow our heads. Solemnly, let not these words be in vain. You must be born again. You must. Now, I'm not talking about you might scream, shout, speak with tongues. I mean being born again. Really, with that deep confession of sin. That you've never been able, yet you've always held to your organization, though you know they were contrary to the Word. But yet, for selfish ideas and for pride and for popularity, you've stayed in the big church. You want nothing to do with the mission on the corner. See, there's your treasures are, your heart is also.